What if Brazil's biggest nightmare at the 2026 World Cup is not scoring goals, but surviving the penalty shootout? This is a question that is quietly worrying Brazilian fans around the world. Because in recent years, whenever Brazil have faced the ultimate test from the spot, the outcome has often been heartbreak. Tournament after tournament, the Seleção have watched their dreams slip away in penalty shootouts. And now, as the road to the 2026 World Cup begins to take shape under Carlo Ancelotti, one critical question is becoming impossible to ignore. Who can truly be trusted to save Brazil when a match goes to penalties? If we look at Brazil's recent history, the pattern is concerning. In their last 3 major tournaments, Brazil have been eliminated via penalty shootouts. They suffered heartbreak in the final of the Tokyo Olympics, then again in the quarterfinal of the 2022 FIFA World Cup, and most recently in the 2024 Copa America. This is not just bad luck, it is becoming a trend. And trends like this can become psychological burdens for even the biggest football nations. When we zoom out and examine the bigger historical picture, the concern becomes even clearer. Across major competitive tournaments, including the FIFA World Cup, Copa America, and the Olympic Games, Brazil have faced penalty shootouts 15 times in total. Out of those 15 shootouts, they have won only 7 and lost 8. That means Brazil actually have a negative success rate in penalty shootouts. For a nation with Brazil's football legacy, that statistic is alarming. Imagine if the numbers were different. If Brazil had won 10 or 11 out of those 15 shootouts, then we could confidently say penalties were one of their strengths. But the reality tells a different story. From a percentage standpoint, Brazil are currently behind where an elite football powerhouse should be. And when you combine that historical weakness with the recent run of shootout eliminations, it becomes clear Brazil have a real penalty problem. So now the big question ahead of the 2026 World Cup is simple but crucial. Among Brazil's current goalkeepers, who can be trusted when everything comes down to penalties? Who is the one goalkeeper capable of becoming Brazil's shootout hero on the biggest stage? As things stand, Coach Ancelotti is monitoring 4 to 5 goalkeepers for the World Cup cycle. Leading the list, of course, is Brazil's undisputed number 1, Alisson Becker. Alongside him are Ederson, rising talent Bento Matheus, the informed Hugo Souza, and João Victor, who is also attracting attention. If we judge purely on overall goalkeeping quality, experience, and consistency, Alisson clearly remains Brazil's number 1 choice. His performances at club level and in major tournaments have earned him that status. The others, realistically, are competing for backup roles. However, and this is where the conversation becomes very interesting, being the best overall goalkeeper does not always mean being the best penalty specialist. And right now, when it comes specifically to penalty shootouts, one name is quietly building a very strong case: Hugo Souza. Recently, Hugo Souza has been delivering impressive performances in high-pressure penalty situations. In the latest Paulista tournament match for Sport Club Corinthians Paulista, he played a decisive role against Associação Portuguesa de Desportos. Not only did he save a penalty during regular time, but in the shootout, he produced 2 more crucial saves to send his team through. Performances like this are exactly what Brazil have been missing in recent international tournaments. What makes Hugo Souza particularly interesting is not just the number of saves, but his reading of the game. Observers have noticed that he often guesses the correct direction of the penalty, even in situations where the ball still goes in, sometimes slipping under his body or past his fingertips. His initial read of the shooter's intention is frequently accurate. That ability to read the opponent's mind is one of the most valuable traits for a penalty specialist goalkeeper. Statistically, Hugo Souza is also making history at Corinthians. He has already recorded 14 penalty saves for the club, making him the 3rd highest penalty saver among goalkeepers in the club's history. For a relatively young goalkeeper, that is a remarkable achievement and a strong indicator of his shootout potential. On the other hand, if we look at Alisson's recent record in penalty shootouts, the picture is less encouraging. Despite being world-class in open play, his recent shootout outcomes have not been particularly successful. Brazil fans have seen several painful eliminations where Alisson was unable to make the decisive difference from spot. That does not diminish his overall quality, but it does raise tactical questions for knockout football. This brings us to a very important strategic possibility for the 2026 World Cup. According to football regulations, teams are allowed to substitute goalkeepers before a penalty shootout begins, provided they still have substitutions available. This opens the door for a very smart tactical move. Imagine this scenario. The match is level after 90 minutes, extra time is played, and the game is heading toward penalties. At that moment, Ancelotti could potentially substitute Alisson and bring on a specialist like Hugo Souza specifically for the shootout. It is a high-risk but potentially high-reward strategy, one that several teams have successfully used in the past. If Brazil truly want to solve their penalty curse, they may need to think creatively like this. Modern tournament football is often decided by the smallest margins, and penalty shootouts are no longer just about luck. They are about preparation, psychology, and specialization. Based on current form and recent performances, Hugo Souza is emerging as a serious trump card option for Brazil. His confidence in shootouts, his directional reading, and his growing statistical record all suggest he could play a very important role in the 2026 World Cup campaign. Of course, the final decision will depend on Ancelotti's long-term planning and squad balance. But if Brazil once again find themselves in a World Cup knockout match decided by penalties, the choice of goalkeeper could define their entire tournament journey. So now the debate is open. Should Brazil continue to rely solely on their established number one? Or should they prepare a dedicated penalty specialist for the biggest moments? And more importantly, do you believe Hugo Souza should be part of Brazil's 2026 World Cup squad as the team's penalty shootout weapon? Let me know your thoughts in the comments.